Okay, good morning, everyone. As you prop your eyes open, please turn to page 1. All mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Buddhahood. Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. All sentient beings, limitless as the sky, take refuge in the glorious, kind Lama Vajradhara, the embodiment of the body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities of the Buddhas of the 10 directions and the 3 times, source of the 84,000 categories of the teaching and Lord of the Sanghas. We take refuge in the kind root Lama and lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the deities of the mandalas of the Idams. We take refuge in all the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in all the noble Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma guardians, possessors of the eye of wisdom.
me so ye shi je je dan den pa nam la jiao si je wu.
Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma and likewise in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path. Chodang Jangchu Senpaye Solang Deshin Kyapsu Je Jedar Gongye Deshin Je Jangchu Tone Kepada Jangchu Senpe La Pala Dedar Renshin Depada Dejin Dola Pendon De Chanchu Semne Jeje Sheng Dejin Dune La Pala Rinpa Shindu La Parje. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings.
And Lola Penche Sanje Sho. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Refuge of all sentient beings without exception, divine subjugator of terrifying Maras together with their hosts of demons, the one who understands all realities without exception exactly as they are, transcendent conqueror, together with your disciples, please come here to this place.
The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is adorned with Meru, the supreme mountain, the 4 continents, and the sun and moon. As a Buddha field, I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha fields. Whatever merit I've gathered through prostrations, offerings, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying, for the sake of the enlightenment of all sentient beings, all this I dedicate. Okay, and then to page 11. Namo, to the Lama of utterly pure appearance and existence, I offer the fundamental ground of appearance and existence. I supplicate you to thoroughly liberate the 3 realms. Please grant your blessings and overturn the depths of samsara. Sublime Master, wish-fulfilling jewel, crown ornament, the inconceivable, inexpressible mind of the victorious ones, the one endowed with the 5 wisdoms of omniscience, gracious one, the embodiment of love, precious protector of beings, I supplicate you from within the essence of mind. Please grant your blessings from within the innate nature. Please bless me that I may realize the Dharmakaya that is beyond intellect, this primordially unborn, completely pure mind. Transcendent conqueror, the one thus gone, foe destroyer of afflictive emotions, completely perfected Buddha, endowed with logic and virtue, the one gone to bliss, knower of the world, captain, tamer of beings, the unexcelled teacher of gods and men, I respectfully prostrate, completely touching my head to the stainless feet of the unequaled Shakya king. At the time of your birth, leader of 2-legged beings, taking 7 steps on this great earth, you proclaimed, I am supreme in this world. To you who were wise even then, I prostrate. Possessing a body of complete purity, your sublime form is excellent. An ocean of primordial wisdom, you are like a golden mountain. The one whose renown is evident throughout the 3 worlds, protector of supreme attainment, to you I prostrate. To you who are endowed with the supreme marks, whose face is like an immaculate moon, to you, the one with a complexion like gold, I prostrate. A flawless one such as you among the 3 levels of existence is most exquisite. Unparalleled, omniscient one, to you I prostrate. Supreme among humans, captain of those to be tamed, the one thus gone who severs the all-binding fetters, who with senses pacified is utterly pacified and skilled in peace, to that one, the one who dwelled at Travasti, I prostrate. Refuge endowed with great compassion, totally omniscient one who indicates the way, ground basis for oceans of merit and qualities, I prostrate to the one thus gone, the pure cause free from attachments, the virtue that liberates from the lower realms, the altogether supreme ultimate truth, to the pacifying Dharma I prostrate. Having been liberated, they also revealed the path to liberation. Thoroughly respectful of the 3 higher trainings, they are a field of sublime qualities. To the Sangha, I also prostrate. And then back to page 9.
Namo Nonze Nanda Ge Lama La Nonze Sheye Sun Chopa Gu Kamso Yondor De Zorwa De Kurwa Tonto Se Jinje Lo Ye Ye Norwe Soke Jen Masan Jome Jawe To Jimbe Yeshe Ngadan Den Sewe Taki Kade Chen Ngarwa Jomze Rinpoche Daksemye Jengane Sorwan De Chunye Jengane Chenje Lo Samdone Jime Namdan De Alonde Chuko Topara Chenje Lo John Dende Yekwa
Drachompa
Yondabara Zobe Sanje Rekwa Dan Shamsu Demba Dewa Shekwa Jeten Jemba Jive Dewa Kalo Jorwa Alana Meba Lata Me Namje Tomba Nyame Shai Je Jarpoi Shabje De Matema Meba Lan Kovoi Rada Dode Gube Echanda Loi Kanda Kanyen Soi Chodan Se Sajen De La Kompa Dungwon Ngane Shikten Den Hai Choche Song Geze Kepa Chila Chaksa Lo Nanda Kuna Chote Sosangwa Yeshe Janzo Serje Lumbo Chaba Shikten Sona Langyewa Angombo Chonye Chola Chonsa Lo Secho Demba Timin Taveche Sedo Rowa Chela Chonsa Lo Dede Chudia Saba Sonanze Nyame Chen Chela Chonsa Lo Mecho Duwa Kalo Junze Chen Ngunyora Jingwa Junze Deshe Ye Wangbo Sheban Ye Shela Ke Nyeyo Shokpa De La Chonsa Lo Gambo Toje Shendemba Tamche Jemba Tomba Bo Sona Yonten Janso Je Deshe Shekla Chaksa Lo Dakpe Docha Trawe Kyu Gewe Genson Le Droshe Cheto Tundai Chokyo Ba Zikyo Chola Chaksa Lo Drone Trawe Lamyam Ton Alaba Dalai Raptugu Shinge Dombai Yontenchi Ekelu Layan Chansa Lo.
And then to page 15. I prostrate to the youthful Manjusri, to those in the worlds of the 10 directions, however many there are, all the lions among humans who appeared during the 3 times, to all of them without exception, I pay homage with respectful body, speech, and mind. The force of my aspiration prayer for excellent conduct
brings all the victorious ones directly to mind. Bowing down with bodies as numerous as atoms in the realms, I prostrate to all the victorious ones. In a single atom there are Buddhas as numerous as atoms, each residing in the midst of their sons and daughters. Like that, I imagine the whole Dharmatatu completely filled with victorious ones. To those with oceans of inexhaustible, praiseworthy qualities, with sounds containing oceans of tones of melodic speech, I express the qualities of the victorious ones. I praise all the Sugatas. With the finest flowers, the finest garlands, music, ointments, supreme parasols, supreme lamps, and the finest incense, I make offerings to the victorious ones. With the finest cloths, supreme scents, and fine powders equal to Mount Meru, all displayed in supreme and magnificent ways, I make offerings to those victorious ones. With vast and unsurpassable offerings, I venerate all the victorious ones. Through the power of faith and excellent conduct, I prostrate and offer to the victorious ones. Whatever negative actions I have performed with body, speech, and also mind, overpowered by desire, aggression, and stupidity, I confess each and every one of them. I rejoice in everyone's merit, the victorious ones of the 10 directions, the Bodhisattvas, the Pratyeka Buddhas, those in training, those beyond training, and all beings. I request the protectors, the lamps of the worlds of the 10 directions, who passing through the stages of awakening, attain Buddhahood beyond attachment, to turn the unsurpassable Dharma wheel. I supplicate with my palms joined together, those who intend to demonstrate nirvana, to remain for kalpas as numerous as atoms in the realms, for the welfare and happiness of all beings. I dedicate whatever slight virtue is accumulated through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and supplicating to enlightenment. And then to page 14.
Sambo chupe monan topdake Yarwa tamche yeje ngozon
du Zengi dulne
lura dubaye Yarwa kunla rabdu chanselo Duje lena dunye sanje no Sanje seje unai chopada Deta choje yingna malupa Tamche jawa take kongwara mo Deta kapa mize janso na Yanke yanla janso dragunje Jawa kunje yonden rabjo jing Dewa shikpa tamche take do Ameto tampa chingwa tampa tang Sinye namdai choba dongcho tang Ngamarame chodan dupo tampa ye Jawa teta lanye chobaje Anaza tamba namdai tencho tang Chema kurme rira nyamba tang Ma jebra babe chogenje Jawa teta lanyan chobaje En choba kana nami jajewa Teta jarwa namje layamo Sambo chola te be do da ke kya wa kun la chang se cho pa ji ngan do ja je da de mo wang ge ne le da nga da de shin yi che jiang an de ba da ke ji ba jin je ba de da tam je da ke so so sha an cho je ja wa kun da san je se lan ja nam da lo da me lo da
dro wa kun je so na kan la yang
de da kun je je se da ye rang an kan na cho je je dan do ma da chang jo ren ba san je ma cha ni gong bo de da ke tam je la ko lo la na me pa ko wa ko anyang da don ka ye de da
dro wa
kun la pe shin de ve she ge wa shin ge tu ni shu pa yang da ke te mo ra ja ra so wa ke
chak sa wa da jo chen shak pa da Jesus
ye ai kun shin so wa ye ge wa shun se da ke chi sa pa tam je so pe chang chu che mo.
To page 16. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the two vehicles and their combination according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings.
Good morning. Tindang azu lende ti quarters. So we have extra tracks in the karma cause effect. I don't know, so I don't know. If not, that's okay. So we have online, right? Yeah.
So yes, today we are continuing the teachings on karma, cause and effect.
So if you don't have, so maybe look in the TV. So first once in Tibet, and then you have to good eyes, okay? First Tibet. Tuje na de jarabon rojo alon jon za ta ni he je men dong je te ne kan da kan do ale ne te ma yin de je sun dong. Okay, so maybe English.
Okay. Bound by time, even a king must die, leaving wealth, friends, and family behind. Wherever he goes like a shadow, his karma will follow him along.
So we read together, or maybe Eric, you can read. I think we did mostly. We did the past 2 Sundays. I think covered these 2 pages. So maybe just read.
So for the reflections on cause and effect, we have the concise explanation, the extensive explanation, and the summary. So the concise explanation is, as the Buddha said, whatever action that is done, its ripening will correspond accordingly and cannot be washed away with water. We cannot choose which karmic seeds we wish to ripen or avoid those we wish to avoid. Our experience will not manifest in a certain way just because we want it to. And yet, even with some understanding of karma, we often have an underlying expectation that we can control the outcome. Oftentimes, we engage in some seemingly insignificant non-virtue, or perhaps maybe even a significant non-virtue, and rationalize it to ourselves, thinking, it's not such a big deal, or surely our good deeds will outweigh it, or that our overall character will somehow make it not count. The Buddha taught that each and every act of body, speech, and mind yields a corresponding fruition, and every karmic action ripens individually without mixing together. Karma does not get lost, and it cannot be removed by some benevolent being. The Buddha often used the example of planting seeds. Whatever type of seed that is planted, it will bear that exact same fruit. We cannot plant rice and expect to harvest barley. Karma is the only thing that will follow us from lifetime to lifetime, and it determines our happiness and suffering in this and future lives. The karma we create may not always be immediately evident. There may be some positive or negative outcomes that we don't see for a very long time, sometimes even for lifetimes, but the karma is still there and will ripen when the conditions allow. Karma is said to be like the shadow of a bird. A bird may fly high in the sky, and its shadow may no longer be visible, but when it flies closer to the ground, the shadow reappears. When we do not see the effects of our actions, we may think that somehow we have managed to escape the consequences, but there are many degrees regarding time periods and ways in which karma can ripen. There is some karma that is instantaneous, where we see and feel the results immediately. At other times, the results are delayed. Sometimes we don't experience the results until our next lifetime, and sometimes not for many lifetimes into the future. In most cases, however, there is some aspect of karmic ripening that we can always identify soon after the action, or at least within the same lifetime. Jigten Sungön has said, results mainly arise as phenomenon experienced in this very life. Oftentimes, it is experienced in the very same moment. For example, if we get angry and lash out at someone verbally or physically, or when the anger is simply present in our minds, the experience of that anger is painful. We feel unwell both mentally and physically. Our mind becomes rigid and narrow, and it is intensely agitating and uncomfortable. We can also experience some aspect of the karmic effects the moment we give rise to unwholesome mind states or act on them with body or speech. For instance, if we feel love or compassion for someone, or with a mind of pure generosity we make an offering or give something to someone in need, not only does it affect others positively, but it also brings a pleasant sensation to us mentally and physically. We feel relaxed and warm and open-minded. In our situation, we have a lot of merit because we wish for happiness and we wish to avoid suffering, just as all beings do. But we are especially fortunate because we accurately understand true causes of happiness and the true causes of suffering. We also have a path and methods to follow successively create the causes of happiness and root out the causes of suffering. In this way, you can think, I am so fortunate because understanding the truth of karma, cause, and effect, I have the opportunity to consciously apply myself in virtue. Reflecting again and again the truth of karma, cause, and effect, contemplate in a way that inspires you to take every opportunity you can to practice virtue and avoid non-virtue.
That's the concise explanation.
So this is the concise explanation.
Bena chu tang jikten se ya ni yung gro wa tene ti indu tene ta jikten gang la samno tam bi na ya lende se ya ti ji ha ko bi na tene ji jikten ge chaga tam chin drop to ba ta jikten de ya ji bo yong to gu yo le ti tho la tene nga to ta tambe chu ji de tene 지 베나차 샤비나 첸데 지구 마인비 되네 지 제와 치마 제와네 제와 팽야디 가르쳐디 요래라비나 되네 달레 세야텔라 가르스나 테라와 아주 소남 게레 게벨레티게 팽기요레스.
So for ourselves, for example, we can think of things in terms of both the Dharma and also in terms of kind of the worldly existence we find ourselves in. So if we think about things in terms of just our ordinary worldly existence, when we understand cause and effect, our actions and their effects, then we can engage in actions in a way so that we can accomplish our goals and our wishes. And when we accomplish these goals and our wishes, then we can create pleasant situations and situations of happiness. So by understanding cause and effect on even just a worldly level, it has these benefits. However, on a kind of a deeper level, if we look at cause and effect in relationship to the Dharma, then we realize that the goal isn't just to accomplish things in this life, but to accomplish things not just for this life, but also all future lifetimes. Then we realize that when we engage in virtue, and when we create merit, this isn't just limited to, accomplishing relative things in this life. So it has a even greater benefit.
I think very important part career lavina ngato ta Buddhism be many teachings yorwa yina yada ngoni china ngato di le junde ti kesi yaboji mahebi ina tene chikchina ngato ko nambe chu ki nyamle che ya te chekina ko confusing cha se gres.
So this is really important, very important. In Buddhism, there are many different types of teachings. However, if we really don't understand cause and effect, karma, cause and effect really well, then some of these teachings can become very confusing.
Odati indu tezungudo ngazoda samsang ngazoda labgu yore oda ji henayana mahayana varyayana seyada mengda mendaji yore thina yang thonda thi ngaso ki jula jik bena yana terawa chisoso terbi ke nomba nong changchop sembe ke laba ta sawanga ke tamse siya di ko kansa jik julia rogoya jik chadi ores.
So sometimes when it comes to Buddhist teachings, we have these different divisions, and we talk about Buddhism in relationship to different vehicles. Like there is the lesser vehicle called the Hinayana, there is the greater vehicle, the Mahayana, and the indestructible vehicle, the Vajrayana. However, ultimately these have kind of one point. Outwardly we have the vows of personal liberation, the trainings in the Hinayana tradition, and then for the Bodhisattva tradition we have for the Mahayana we have the Bodhisattva trainings, and in the Vajrayana there are the Vajrayana samayas, or the commitments. But in the end, these all have a single point.
Tendanga to lamramba shindu deda kanza jik la Mahayana imba kanza jik la Hinayana imba kanza jik la Vajrayana imba chadi yomaris. Depending ngazu ki nyung momba la tani wa ngazu nyung momba la karisena course wa nyung momba hyok chimbo yona tene ngazu ta nyung mo pango wa oda panya la ta tabi yapshodi ko nyom panya tang nyom ba ke thok ta wi ta ya di kharcha di yola wina tene ta henayana senare therwa ta cha di yoris tene nyom ba ta tis ti chung ro na rang nyom ba hyo chung ro nga so nyem bo ten to ro wa tene ji mahaya kharsa ko changchop sem ke la nyem bo ten to ya ta dire ya ji hyo cheren ro wina tene ji rang lo ke top ta che ne nyom ba ta ji 미바 총은 로비나 되는가 좀 용바 람트체르세야디 상아추 치고로와 디인디다 가조디 가리이나야 특파솜디 고 강사 제기 줄을 냠나 쳐야지 차고요레스.
So when we follow the different stages of the path, it's not that we are necessarily a Hinayanaist or Mahayanaist or a Vajrayanaist. It's not that we, only need to abide by one of these sets of teachings, the lesser vehicle, the greater vehicle, or the indestructible vehicle. What it is that we need to, practice according to our situation with our afflictive emotions. And so, for example, if we have extremely powerful afflictive emotions, one of the ways of dealing with these is to avoid circumstances that bring strong afflictive emotions. And so we need to abandon and kind of discard afflictive emotions. So this is the tradition of the Hinayana, the lesser vehicles. And so if, our afflictive emotions are a little less and we're able to kind of, work with them in some way, we can apply the antidote to afflictive emotions, which in the Mahayana, the greater vehicle of teachings, is bodhicitta, cultivating the enlightened mind with love and kindness and compassion. And so then when our afflictive emotions become more workable, then we can actually take them onto the path and practice, with them and transform them and so forth. And so at that point, we can practice the teachings of secret mantra. And so in this way, it's not that we are bound by any one of these, vehicles, but in fact, one individual can actually practice all of these depending on where we are in the path.
어다티 인도 가르산 단다 콘트 슈바나 예레 ngazoda nomba좀라 냠내 치고야다 더나 이게 다 개체효데 ngazo다 베나차샤이나 좋은 유르와 땡토비야티 가르치고서는 샘킨 유르와디 탭고 그러와 디인도 베나 뇽모 빵게 요나 어다 뇽모바 베나 샤당다비나레 간디 임메나다 지 네 빵고 삼비로 요비이나야 맞아 양네 양한테 냠래 마지나 고빵토비야 요마르와 유르와 땡토비야 요마리 텐데 인도 다 ngazo디 추 냠래치 세야디 고 양네 양도 치비깔라 되네 다도디 고 샘킨 주르와지 탭투고요레 베네 해당 빵게람나 해당 빵투고요레 라와 해당 긴님보 땡게람나 땡투고요레 오 해당 고랑 거 라지 마라 따토나 따투고요레 얘네야 즉 단다랑 오 당에게 해당데 베 메와소나 소투고 말이 염센 텔레데네 아주 다 추 냠래 지야 돼 데일리 루틴 again 지야 마토 베게 즉 단다직다 쪽쪽 하 코바 잠지 아주 샘줄에 제투고면도 와
So in whatever of these different types of vehicles of practice we are doing, the main thing that we are working with, the main thing that changes with these different, practices is the mind. And so the mind is what we are working with. And so when afflictive emotions arise and we are trying to abandon them, for example, we might have a lot of anger. And so we think, okay, I want to abandon my anger. But when, just having this thought, okay, I'm going to abandon my anger now. That doesn't really make our anger go away. What we have to do is again and again, when anger arises, then we need to let it go. We need to keep trying to abandon it. And then eventually, if we really work all the time and work with a lot of effort, then we are able to overcome and abandon our afflictive emotions like anger in this way. And so, for example, with anger, we can get to the point where we can abandon it, like the lower vehicles of teachings. We can get to the point where we can apply the antidotes of love, compassion, and bodhicitta. And we can get to the point where we can see the very essence of the afflictive emotions like anger and see their empty essence, and thus they are liberated. And so the key thing here, though, is that when we practice the Dharma, we need to really apply ourselves and apply it in our minds again and again. Just having this idea, okay, I'm going to do this now, doesn't make it automatically happen. We need to really change, our minds to make it work.
추냠냐 간디 치고를 라고도 치고를 라고도 당가서 remind 그 day and night tel라고도 디인도 즉 추냠냐 치야데 근데 당가서 참으로 리강이야 디토고 maybe 이나야 그즉 냠냐 치야데 그 tel라고도 두촉 라고도 배나 다 약쇼 추나 베스 카리올라나 when chu chia ki nyamlen chi remind 3 times a day 3 times night do tinde le tene chi thomna phene chi khale nyong ba de tene chi nupa mewa rawa tene so to gu yosares.
So when we practice the Dharma, for example, we should remember it and remind ourselves of our practice day and night. And so, it may be the case that we have the opportunity to do retreat practice where we have like boundaries of silence and so forth. It might not be the case that we have the opportunity to do that. If we are or not, one of the best kind of ways of practicing is to practice 6 times a day. 6 times every 24 hours. So the best is to practice 3 times throughout the day and 3 times throughout the night. And if we practice and remind ourselves of our practice of working with afflictive emotions 3 times throughout the day and 3 times throughout the night, and really apply ourselves all the time, then slowly we'll get the power to overcome and transform and apply antidotes and so forth to our afflictive emotions.
어디인도 디간나기다 가서 공부하러 monastery 텔레카리오를 라비나 되네 그 쇼케랑 냠내 치고였다 daily practice 요래 데이터 이나야 코란베 지금 normal day 인비나야 쇼케라 practice 제 공달라 practice 치고요레스 인다 참잔다 가서 데 나완다와 되네 냠내 치야 요러와 나와 week month full month no full week no 냠내 치야 요레스 이나야 다 코치 system gomba korang system na tene shogi nyamna chigo gore gonda nyamna chigo gores.
So for example, in Buddhist monasteries, they have various kind of practice times, but at the very least, normally there is morning practice, daily morning practice, and there is daily practice in the evenings. So of course, sometimes in monasteries there will be week-long practices or even month-long practices where there's intense practice for that whole time period. But even when those aren't going on, there is still a daily morning and daily evening practice.
어다디인도 다티 제 카르세 그렇고 초직디도 고다드가 룰도 시스템도 에 힘번도 리디나 통당 오마데 갈라고 요르세나 딘디지 미위나 맞고 주티 뇽 바테데네 지 카르세 그랬다 당 콘티바레 뇽 누구 요나레 뇽 뇽 땡 요나레 지토고요 말레스.
So there is this kind of rule system and kind of tradition. And the reason this is in place in monasteries and so forth is because if we don't apply some kind of system to work with our afflictive emotions, then we're not going to be able to tame our afflictive emotions. We're not going to be able to apply the antidotes or transform them.
제가 나이다 가서 추 냠래치 realization 라고요나레 다 상제 공부터 라고요나레 그 가서 그줄 확샤라와 지 샤고요레와 제 확샤 샤워 지와라 가서 냠래 맞이나 확샤 샤투 말와 가서 mostly 확샤 카르혀거라와이나 직텐디 기차자자냐 확샤 샤데거와 디 확샤티 냠아지 왕라파 도토비아지 지고나 직텐비케 확차디 왕도야게 지 냠랭게 확차 효점부지 샤고고요나 특zam지 투수 당고요레스.
So when it comes to the Dharma practice, and it comes to, really wanting to practice to attain the state of enlightenment or Buddhahood, then we need to establish a pattern in our minds. So normally we have this pattern of, all the worldly things are in our minds. And so we might want to establish patterns of the Dharma, but, our worldly patterns are so strong, so they continuously arise. And so what we need to do to gain, power over, this patterning that we have, these tendencies that we have in our mind, is we need to practice. And through practicing with effort again and again, then we can, change our patterns in our mind to establish the pattern of the Dharma to eventually attain enlightenment.
어디 인도 당기다 양초 again 가르치는 것도 직례 준대인데 딱 코랑원에 전에 deep understanding same 게 땡네 직 녀시지 토비아게 understanding 차비나 당가서 real dharma practitioner 차기요레스.
So again, if we can gain an extremely, like a deep understanding of karma, cause and effect, and not just a conceptual understanding, but like a real certainty and experiential understanding in our mind, then at that point that we have this certain experiential understanding of karma, cause and effect, then we become a real Dharma practitioner.
어디 인도 가르세나 디기 줌센 가레 라위나 단단가 저디 가르세나 지 유직을 때네 데디어와 유티게 왕존로지 지은고요다 이나 양가서 렌데 야보 썸노코랑 샘댕네 즉 렌데 안더스탠딩 차미나 되네 가서 치유를 땡고야 요 말이스 단단 가서 유 왕조 치고 유 가리 왕조 치고잖아 베나 치유 게되네 윤제오요나 윤제오데 가서 차야 작배 왕다 치유요데 다 된디게 유틀에 때네 가서 뇽mom보다 지용거라 해당 제기요래 잡도 제기요래 노자 제기요래 된디 지네 가서 유디게 소가서 가두는 뇽mom보로 거치네 왕조 치운 거라와 이네 렌데지 약보 지 something called same 게 땡네 지 베나 화샤 효침보 하나 되니 유티 완전 지투고 말이다 당강강한 가르치고도 선바지로와 딘디지 코르위나 다 용몽바게 고지 맨로든 바데와텔라 되니 다 차누고다 다 효요 말이
So, for this, the reason behind this is that normally we are dependent, we experience things in relationship to outer objects and outer experiences, and we're overpowered by them. And if we don't have a really strong understanding of karma, cause and effect, then we're basically powerless to, the various experiences that arise outside of us. For example, if we see some outer objects and they are pretty and delightful, then we get attached to them. On the other hand, if we see some things and they are, upsetting, then we get, we can have anger, and we, look at them as, adversaries. So too, we can see things and we get attached to, and we can get jealous. All the afflictive emotions in this way can arise in relationship to what we perceive outwardly. On the other hand, if we really train our minds to understand and think about all the time karma, cause, and effect, then when we see things that would normally create different afflictive emotions outside of ourselves, as we start to become attached or averted to those things, if we think, okay, wait, what's going on? And what, kind of what is, the right path to take in terms of, actions and their effects, then if we really contemplate this, then we'll have some control, and our powerlessness, starts to, dissolve, and we're not overpowered just by outer circumstances and objects.
Maybe so we look a bit. That picture minute love shall be instant that character. Extensive explanations here. Do a Tigon donos. Tell you your
Shinto-chik.
that mendo in the kemendo. Till at the standard Hugins, go to Gins, second paragraph.
Oh, so this is starting to kind of get into the extensive explanation.
That thing, that telecarrier is Huvina, Nazo Sonam Kiletan, Sonam Maimbi Kiles, Yores, Tangaton Samsam, Telabri, Gava Labgre, Megawa Labgre, Yinayata, Pechejik, Sonam Kiletan, Sonam Maimbi Kiles, Yate, this Yabo Yorwa, Nazo Sonam Ki Geveles Anna, Nazo Jibo, Dewo, Tene, Sonam Yorwa. Tene, ta Carsegor, Sonam Maimbi Lazy, Macho Megawa Jack Lazy Chivina, Tikin Drivetela, Tangazo Gangi, Tringrova, the Sonam Main Chad or Tene, Sonam Kileta, Sonam Maimbi Kiles, Niores, ta also a long term chance of Kogrova, Gavata Megawa Labgres.
So, we can talk about karma, and in Tibetan, there's this term called sonam, which is merit, which is this thing that we accumulate. So there is karma according to merit, or there is karma according to a lack of merit. And we can also, normally we talk about virtuous, in Tibetan it is gewa, or non-virtuous, which is mi gewa. We talk about virtuous actions and non-virtuous actions. But in another way, Drupon says it can be maybe more accurate to say that when we have merit, we experience things that are pleasant, and we experience different results that are, situations of happiness. And when we have a lack of merit, then we experience difficult situations, obstacles, problems, and suffering.
That in the Karzanda, not so Sona Maimbi Le Karimba Hakogo Groa. Was all late, Sona Maimbi Kilet Hamagovina, not so Sona Maimbi Kilet, Pantukumarova. Tindi in the Sona Maimbi Kiletela, Tenengas that make a jewel of Yore, Sona Maimbi Le Karzosna, Luke Gonetene, Soguyore, Nak Gona Soguyore, Yiji Gona Soguyores.
So, in particular, it's important for us to understand what are actions, what is karma that leads to a lack of merit. And if we know this, then we can abandon those things so that we only have merit. And so it is taught that there are 10 non-virtuous actions. Non-virtuous actions can be categorized into these 10. And within these 10 non-virtuous actions, there are non-virtuous actions of the body that we do physically, non-virtuous actions of our speech that we say, and then non-virtuous actions of our minds.
That in the tang as a luge gone megawa som sunyatelata, Carson Tambote, soju baimbares.
So then, out of the 3 non-virtuous actions of our body, the first is the non-virtuous act of killing.
That in the Tazo Carsonazo, Samo Tango Gure, that soju but Chibumare, Semjan and Seva Pango Yores. Semjan Seva Power Chivala, Cardla Gorsana, Ran la Chi 노바 유와 노바 땅에 나나 칸디도 미제키베 캅족나 칸디도 노바 칸디스도 게 로트 라네 현랑아 좀 세워지나 되네 담에게 오차 그랬어.
So, so this non-virtuous action, the first one is killing. So, on one hand, it's called killing, but it's not just killing other sentient beings that is non-virtuous. On a broader level, it is when we abandon love towards sentient beings. And so, when we don't have, a pure kind of view towards sentient beings, and when we, think about something negative that other beings have done, and we want to harm them, and we want them to not experience happiness, this kind of thought, this is non-virtuous. Even just, this mental attitude of not, wanting them to be happy.
Like for example, nga so kapzona nga mihimbaji kapzona needle poking.
Not so.
So na jiwmido wa. Ti churwa de samno tane tene hianla jikbar wa hianla noba chea yo maris. Tenga chako go pena nga so kapzona incomfortable wa. Jiwmido wa. O ta ti jiwo mewa de nga so hako ne tene simjen himbala yang.
So, if, we get poked by a needle, even just a little needle, that doesn't feel good at all. It hurts. And so, wishing harm on others, even though it might be small, it's like poking them with the needle. That's not very nice.
So, tiga na ita nga so chamre teyorwa karse particular ta nga so di America na inare Thinley yang nga so fan seneji jibo tang yo lamne ji rida jaya o nga jibo tang yo lamne tene jik benata fishing chia o ta son rowena ta ben norris digmaris.
So in particular, like in Western countries, like in the U.S. and so forth, people are always talking about like going out and having fun, and people are like, yeah, I'm gonna go up in the mountains and have some fun. I'm gonna go on a fishing trip and have some fun, and we kind of just, spend our time, waste our time, just going out to have fun, and this really isn't, really okay.
That is only penanga so kala saya mina, rawa storming. Higiyona fishing china digre, rawa ta digre saya yomarina ko reason yorwa, dipachonga yores. Hunting china digres ko digre sena ko majiji rawa, ina dipachonga yores. Yina ngatu ki dipa saya di karma saya di interesting rawa. Ti indu pena labor pete kon kakayores. Chorang ke pena kala mine ji shawan rawo ji si bi dipa thang chorang fan chine hunting tiga ji samno juno matane tene ji semchen ji si wati dipa kora pede karse gota chejung be karse gota terwa dab janjortini dipa chejung yores 100 times different multiple ina saya da hawaji se barawa ya nyaji se barawa ina tiko jimna ka yores karma se yati.
So excuse me, the translation to clarify a little bit. So in the West, particularly in the US, but also Western countries, people go not just to the mountains, but they go to the mountains to hunt. So they go to hunt like deer and so forth, and they go fish for fun. It's a sport, and it's like a pastime. And this is not good. This is not good. And so if we are starving, if we're literally starving, we don't have access to food, you know, at the very least in that situation, there is kind of a reason behind hunting or fishing. It's to get food. But some people really just go to hunt or fish for trophies even. They don't even eat it. They just want to, like, you know, have a trophy, or they just do it for fun, to spend, you know, fun, so-called fun time with friends. And so, you know, these days, you know, if there is a reason, if people are hunting because they have a need for food, they don't have, you know, money, and it's a way for them to get food, it's not good. You know, it's still killing another sentient being, but at least there is, you know, kind of a reasoning behind it. To just, you know, hunt, even if you know, you have access to other food, and to do it as kind of a fun thing for sport and the enjoyment of the hunt or fishing, then it is said to be 100 times worse, because it is just for, you know, pleasure that we are killing other animals.
What did Tangaso some no tangore, Terra Samsangas of Maji, Tichea yo mare, Tichea yo mares, Labgrawa. Ti Yina Thinley ran some tangores, Tangila imba, not capzona, capzoguoro, field candido. Then he had a capzon Hakogro. Benanyala, Gale, the Carla, Jax Jona, Tambo Naranga Jax Jona, Candium setting us some tango grow. Kissing at Hemason Narwa. Tesamondana, the name of disco. The what a part of we got is.
So, one way that we can really think about how the negative experience of karma works, for example, if we take this example of, you know, sticking a needle in ourselves. If we get poked by a needle, that doesn't feel good at all. So if we think about getting, contemplate getting stuck by a needle, we can kind of know how it would feel if we stick somebody else with a needle, because, you know, we have this experience. And so in the same way, if we think about fishing, right? So how would it feel if we swallowed a giant, you know, iron hook, and it was caught on the inside of our mouth, and we were being yanked around? How would that feel? That's sort of like how it feels, you know, to be a fish. And so one way of kind of getting beyond negative actions is to contemplate just how, you know, these negative actions would feel when we do them to others, like fish in this example.
What a teen do, Tangato Carsena Lende, say at Hakovina, then Tangon is really necessary in a matter of big, then run at protection to your days.
So it's really important that we, you know, think about cause and effect all the time. It's this necessity, because, you know, ultimately it helps protect us.
So now we have to, I think, not much time. We want going to talk. So in a young tongue, a talk that's a jig lavia use, Sanga, what I did, the highest chadiores.
So now we are, you know, there's not really time to go further into the cause and effect teaching, because we are going to do this Gana Chakra feast. And so this feast is from the tradition of the Vajrayana, the indestructible vehicle, the highest tradition of practice.
ina ta jir mazarba tu samno khira tangko maris chinaso keyo maris ina ge ta tis nyamla yakbo chingen to la tseka hi je la ya use.
So for those who are joining us who are kind of new to Buddhism, don't think too much about.
No worry.
Don't worry. This is kind of, there's a lot of like really subtle stuff going on. So don't over contemplate it. You know, it kind of requires a lot of explanation. But for people who have been practicing for a while, there are some things that can be said.
So this the Ramyam constitute.
So
Not this one, I think it is top.
so then
Almost what it is. Shanga this kind of.
oh yeah. Tombing ngang le yam le long wrong. The test can start. Yeah, Yori.
Oh, that's a shanga this nga say yoris.
So, in the Gana Chakra feast, there are what are known as the 5 meats and the 5 nectars.
That our practitioners really hansa some tangoya this. Ngazo the 5 nectar the 5 meat the ji saya gecha maris.
So, when we talk about the 5 meats and the 5 nectars in the Vajrayana, in the special feast, it's not about eating 5 different types of meats and consuming 5 different types of nectars.
That the Karsana Vajrayana practitioner or not, Karsana the examination is.
So this can be looked at both by Vajrayana practitioners or those that aren't practicing the Vajrayana.
Terwa. So this Vajrayana practitioner kind of examination. No chagyoriste. Koji yikti no warwa.
Oh. So sangat dorji tekpa nyaman chicken yunamena the sangat kikola.
Sanga call examination rwa exam.
Oh, taxe.
Yeah.
Okay. So this, excuse me, I'll return. This is a way to test whether or not you actually are a Vajrayana practitioner.
Okay. The Hindu ta karisena Dila tanga so D5 maybe I English so we thinking about no drought you just that is 5 nectars okay drink 5 nectars your concept no problem or you see the 5 meat that you guys mostly understand okay same thing other meat and 5 meat no different. So if that level, then you pass, examination. But still we're saying by actual, you 5 or whatever nectars, just hesitation. If really you can eat something, this 5 nectar you drink. The hesitations, they're not yet, So same thing, ngazota chang tunya saya ro yores wa. Ta ngazo zanga ina chang tung chugre, jemen ten chugre saya di, ko si jing malona teni yunga yo maris, ko nyomu barakwa yuna rakwa shagures. Rawa, honga zanga nya. ngazu nyung mo rakpa yu hin de nga de benta chang tong de gre jeme ten 제메되네 제메된버리 제메고 ordinary 제메로 그거랑 샤그레스 창동은 창동한테 ordinary 창강 샤그레스 뭐더 비게 들리지 상아 카디나 되네 항상 예봐요 그래서
So, in the Vajrayana, just maybe for a little context, so the 5 meats are like traditionally, meats from naturally passed away animals that nobody would normally eat. Or the 5 nectars are like, substances that nobody would normally drink. If we think of the 5 meats the same as food that we would normally want to eat, then we have no dualistic conceptions. If we think of the 5 nectars and delicious drinks that, we would want to drink as being inseparable, then we have no dualistic conceptions. Furthermore, in the tradition of secret mantra, there is the allowance to drink alcohol, but and there is also the allowance to have, physical intimacy with a partner. But if we just drink alcohol and have physical intimacy without any, kind of higher perspective, then it's just ordinary. At the same time.
Think that way, right? Yes. So shouldn't think okay, whatever, just ordinary thing, just live in ordinary thing, right? But you're thinking you're doing things, or this Vajrayana, or the high practice don't. You understand? Ordinary things, you're doing ordinary things, just live ordinary thing. You shouldn't thinking about, I am like practicing or Vajra, or, this higher yoga, or just I can't drink, I just practice higher yoga, or I can do everything, this higher yoga. No, you're not labeled there, okay? If you're doing that, that's big consequences. So when they did, yes, there is Vajrayana, union, so on, but this level, I say, you no different. Your 5 nectars, a regular nectar. You know concept, then you're okay. So complete, beyond our ordinary concept or ordinary afflictive emotions, as long as we are ordinary afflictive emotions, then you're mystic. Okay? So that is careful, Vajrayana, careful. Really highest practice, but same time, we many mistakes too, misunderstanding, why there's unions, so. Also the union many meanings we don't have time, but, so that's just have to really careful, depending how, So also this have to have perfect Yamada. The perfect Yamada means you can do we call afflict emotions, you can do means you get angry, you can stop there. You can transform there. Then you get, that means you have Yamada. But if we have still, we get afflictive emotion, you cannot control, To course, you have the afflictive emotions. So we cannot, we don't play, tiger or something, You can bite, You have confidence, so you want to wire bear or tiger. You figure out first how to dealing them. Otherwise, maybe nice, They kill us, So that's just. Okay, so we thought. So that is also related to the karma, So this today is talk, but also I think big related in the karma cause effect. So maybe you can look there at their mentors. This one. No, this one.
The top?
Yeah, they just need to go to the mantra.
Om Shunyata?
No, mantra.
The Om Gari Gam?
No. Yeah, there.
Oh,
Okay, so okay, so page, what is that?
So, in the short practice, page 7. So, in the one with the Niratmya picture, page 7.
So now I think Ganacharato, actually they don't have that page. Maybe page 3, I think. So just English.
Tombe Nangale?
Umasobodo, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so this...
It's called page 57 in the enjoyment lake of nectar flowing from two sources.
All right, okay.
So in the other, yeah. So in the sok, yes or no?
Yes. That's our 50, it's 50, I think it's 55
50
of the PDF actually, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
About starting 57.
Okay. Tata, yes. So maybe two pages down.
Okay, good. Thank you. Om Denda Amrita Gundale Hana Om Be Sova Soba Vashuda Sarvadame Soba Vashuda. So maybe I think I can do English here. Sorry, the Tibet. Om Tombe Ngale Yale Long Ramle Me Om A Hong Le Tobe Jepe Somje Dengdo Ale Toba Yangshin Jachiwe Nando Hong Bom An Zeng Kam Lang Mang Bang Dang Bam Le Ji Be Du Zeng Dang Xiang Er Jo Hao Ho She Hao Ho She Hao Ho She Tamar Vi Kan Do Zhe Ru Nu Ban Zhu Xing Long Yu Me Ba Ju Bo De Bim Nian Man Char Ga Da Wu Lo Jian Jie Lang Ba Hong Le Do Le Jie Ka Zhang Gang Bo Ra Wei Xu Ba Ra Ba Ra Chu Ru Wa Xu Xin Tian Yi Du Len Song Dong Wa Zhen Ma Tam Ji Dang Ji Wa Xia Da Ra Zi Bi Tam Zi Ge Du Zi Kang Wei Deng Tu Om Le Chong Wei Da Wa Ka Chu Ji Zu De Ne Ba Ye Goro De A Le Ga Le Yong Goro De A Li Yong Su Jur Ba Ti Ye Deng Tu Om A Hong Le Wo Zi Ren Chu 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 Re Xiu Bi Du Ri Jian Zen Ba Tam Ji Gou Ne Yi Xie Jie Du Zi Chuan Da Wei Yi Ge Som Tang Ji Ba Xu Bi Du Zi Jiang Zu Jian Bo Chu. So now English. Okay, the next one.
So then 57 from
Not first one, so start is
oh,
the
so the
Tsok.
second after Ha Ho Tree. So a little lower.
No, 我们去一行上面 Not there. So here.
Oh, so actually on page 58 on page 58 after the Hong syllable. Yes. Lower. Yeah, right there. Offering the best portion of the feast.
Okay.
Hong, from Akanishta, the pure field of the Dharmatatu, may the Dharmakaya, the great Vajradhara, please come. From the pure fields, wherever they stay, may the Samugakaya, Dharatmaya, and her retinue, please come. From the supreme holy place, Bogaya, at the assembly of the Manikayas, please come. From the king's palace in Zahur, may Tilo Prajnabhadra please come. From the Pulahari monastery, may Naro Janasiddhi please come. From the supreme place, Lodrak Drowodlong, may the teacher Marpa Chokilodro please come. From the seat Lodra Gilide, may the teacher's father and sons please come. From pure lands wherever they reside, may the root and lineage lamas please come. From the vast space of the spontaneous great bliss, may the assembly of Yidam deities please come. From the 24 supreme power places, may the assembly of Dakas and Dakinis please come. From the palaces in each power place, may the guardians of the essential teachings, Achi and so forth, and especially the goddess Dusulma, please come. Having aroused the mind of enlightenment, may the Vajra holder and the others heed me. I offer this special Gana Chakra with a faithful mind. Please partake of it as you like. May the two accumulations be perfected and the violations be amended. Please grant the supreme and common cities.
Keep going.
Ima, all you of supreme wisdom, this great Gana Chakra blazes and birds all afflictions. Having obtained such bliss, may everyone claim.
So what your song?
So then, Tushik Zip
Yeah, this, yeah.
So then continue.
Keep going.
Look here, the excellent doctrine is endowed with beauty. Do not be doubtful of it. Please, with the realization that
Brahmins, dogs, and untouchables
have the same nature. Free from the stains of desire, the invaluable Dharma has graciously come, completely abandoning concepts of subject and object. May I pay homage to suchness. The Vajra rests in the lotus itself is the field. The hand drum beats continuously, resounding with compassion, not quarrels. There eat power diligently, and also drink lots of wine. The worthy companions should enter, but the unworthy are excluded. Anoint with fourfold mixture, musk, frankincense, and camphor. There with flavorings and great meat, we too should eat our fill. Without hindering and coming and going, do not think of pure and impure. Bone ornaments adorn the body. There enter the corpse. For the gathering, the two unite. There the untouchables are not excluded.
Okay. Maybe one times Tibet. So back to Humichi.
Okay, so in Tibetan, we'll go back to the offering the best portion of the feast on page 58.
Dorje tenje nenjo ne shube goto yeso sawore jabu podana dele jera sambo ye hare gomba na naro yeje ngoto je soda cholo nenjo ne maton choje lodo ye Loda jidi densa ne moton yapse yesu so Karajo tabi shinkan
ne tsaku lama sheksu
so Zunjo deche moyan ne yedan latso yesu so Nikyu zayi nenjo ne Papawo kanjo yesu so Lencho so zi koran ne Yingbo tenzong aje so Chebara tu so lamo she Changcho tene semje ne Teke zi so gongzo so Dane so ji chebari semje bula ne Chede wane jesu so Tsoni zoje nyamja gong chongde modo sadu so Ayama yeshe tsongjo na tsojen barbe nyomo se Dende dewa toba yi kunje abo suga jui Doyen zenden tambi shu de la te soma yomani Je dans dorba so ranyin je de toba ji do cha te ma dan de ji ren dan mi bi le ko ju
Zodang jing
ai nam ba be de kon na ni la cha On bien ma tane dorje ne bien ma ni ni shin ni no Shanti Dongja Te Nyingje Kojo Dame Ja Jere Dongten Bibi Sa Chanyang Mongko Dongwara Ja Robo Kanten Shokbara Ja Kewa Mepa Nambara Pang He Jan Langye Singha La Kawara
Nam Ki Drupon Ja Jaya Choma Jachin Yi Gyalpo
Da Jang Savaraja Do Tang Hong Man Gome Jang Ta Ta Ma Da Same Jang Rubi Jen Je Lu La Jen Tere Dorje Shokaraja Ducere nine tuvaja, dine sheja pamesha. So I have a story in the Vajrayana practitioners. Tini ti nyama song ni labda, tini chararan bochela, ta lama suin hakuma so lama ti jek tini loma mambo jek tene, chararan boch njerandores.
Chatra Sanjay Dorje?
Yeah.
Lomo Mambo.
No, ta nopchok lama ji insa ta ti main lab gugmendo ina tini. Nopchok lama ji ke korna loma mambo ti yosarwa. Ti ne te chararan boch njerandores.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Hakusong.
Hakos. So, there's this story, and it regards the master Shatra Sanjay Dorje. So there was a lama that came to him with lots of Western students.
Tini ta lama ti khallabarsi na kongso pe ta nyamle mambo chigi yore, ta zowe yedam sanga chuma nyamle yabo chigi yore. Tini ta nga damga jik nangro chis mixe ke ta zokchen ina karina ta tindi mixe ke teaching jik nangro chis huberes.
So this lama said, oh, these Western students, you know, they're really incredible practitioners. They have done like Yidam deity practice. They're really, you know, they've, you know, done a lot of secret mantra practice. So please give them, you know, a really special, you know, unique teaching, please.
Tin chadaran bochi te zungdo, wada ngi chapsang nang la pagila, dutsi tsawo ji yus, te tis jik sa na digres tene, nge de jil damga mangu hubres.
So, Shatra Sanjay Dorje said,
Yeah, sure, yeah, yes, yeah, sure.
he says, sure. You know, I have, in my latrine, there's, you know, some urine there.
You remember that, you learn those things.
So we got some urine here, and so, you know,
Take those.
it's actually, it's nectar. So, you know, these students, you know, all of you have some of this nectar, and then, you know, I'll give you a special instruction.
That ko tseji tini ji gogu doa, te gogu yusares. That tseji. That tini chebar meina, tini tongo ya yo marwa yin, ta namto te yin, tini ko namto sa kawa ko yung samgurwa.
So
then this, I said, the testing, you know, so the real practitioner or not, you know. If you really, this beyond our ordinary concept, yeah, sure, not big deal, you know. But we have ordinary concepts, okay, this clean, unclean, right, wrong, good, bad, I like this, I don't like that. So of course, there's unclean. What talking about the toilet, you know? Who's doing that, you know? So that's, I think, very, I think they're careful, you know. So possible beyond one day, you know, beyond our ordinary concept. So it is that level. Then there are no such things. This clean or not clean, or this good or bad. Beyond like we ordinary concept. So then that's okay. So if that time, then you drink whatever, you're okay, you know. So this not their like ordinary concept. And then like for example, they say we're talking about drink cha or beer, whatever, whiskey. So I think what is the lavaba, right? Lavaba. So lavaba drink, and then so lavaba. This what is the chanson sakari. Bar, and selling alcohol, right? So, probably you know these stories many times, but and then so he asked the drink, he give the one shot, one drink, and asked again, give me one more. I said, okay, first you pay me. Oh, okay, I pay you in their shadow. There he can mark, right? Shadow get here at stake. He put the stake in the ground. When shadow hit this stake, then I pay you. So then he just asked, drink and drink and drink, but never moved the shadow. And the bar and all these people are really confusing, when maybe the hours, maybe midnight or next morning, who knows. So this kind of level you can drink. But otherwise, I say in this, of course, we are drink, just ordinary drink, okay? But stay careful too, So that is Vajrayana is careful too, Okay. ဒါဒီနေ့နေငါတာ karma cause effect ပြောရဘူးကြဟာခေါ်နာဒီငါတို့ညံလန်းတဲ့ကို progress ရဆောင်းတဲ့တော့အကြည့်မတော့တယ်လားခါစ obstacle စနေ confusion ယုံကမာရစ်
So when we understand the subtle nuances of karma, cause and effect, then if we practice according to that, then our practice will always progress and grow, and it will get better and better. And we won't have, negative circumstances and obstacles and so forth.
ဒီကနေ့ traveling also confusion ရောတော့ 我那么就唱东个都拉不了哇，那么唱东呢，唱一盘没把唱了，要么的是，可能，那么可能是negative 要了哇，我参加个哦，那么下啥个都是，是吧？因为那么下啥呢，那么下啥个要么了哇，因为那么下啥呢，那么可能 negative 要了，那么下啥呢，那么可能 negative 要了哇，我在第一样就提高了，搞样都有了，搞都嘛的是。 देखा दिला दो पाक देखा जाना पारिस पाक करना रे responsibilities पूरी देखा जाना पूरी इसको करना पूरी responsibility दिला दो तो मतलब कभी आयो हमारेस
So one thing that's interesting, sometimes people have like teachers that drink alcohol and consume meat and so forth, and they might think, oh, I should do that too. But, really, if, it's just ordinary, drinking alcohol and the ordinary consumption of meat, there is the negative repercussions of that each person needs to experience. And so we don't need to over-conceptualize this. If somebody is engaging in an activity that has negative consequences, then that is their karma. We don't need to emulate that. So this, sometimes people think, oh, my teacher, is doing these things, I should just do them. That's not the case. We should just focus on our own actions, and we don't need to over-conceptualize, what others are doing.
Okay. Tene da gegen도 야치기도는 대변량 그랬어. gegen티 가르치기도 야보 positive things 가르치고는 다들 로메 클럽 그랬어. 로메 장 그랬어. 로메 치 그랬어.
So on the other hand, though, our teachers, when they do positive things and virtuous things, we should investigate those things, and we should learn those things and try to emulate those things.
That's a karma. Tene tanda are sister Tombare tene da jikchina tanda mazo sang lo masarwa zoke tene chogaji tongyo sare tene tikchi tula tene man malaji tongins
So Drupon was saying, my sister Eric, the translator, passed away recently. I don't know,
sister, right? Sister.
10 days ago or something. My sister passed. And also, someone else who is new here had a loved one that passed away, and so Drupon said that we can do a mala of mani mantras for their benefit.
Compassion.
With compassion for them.
Buddha. And so this, so we already passed, so we physically or verbally we cannot connect it, but we mentally and prayer Om Mani Padme Hum, we able to connect it to the past, and also they benefit them. So we thinking, or maybe tilata, tongdong tila samno tangni, kikzewa law tito la tine ngazu ti mantong yares.
So, again, while we might not be able to physically connect with them, if we do the prayers of Om Mani Padme Hum with compassion, then that love and compassion can transcend the boundaries of life and death and benefit them. So, recite in that way.
Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme
Om Mani Padme Hum, Mani Padme Om Mani Padme
Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Om Padme Hum Om Mani Padme Hum Om Mani
So this
Padme
in the prayer
Hum
book, and then this
Om Mani
after the yellow is the middle of yellow, and page 8.
Om Mani Padme Hum 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 Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum 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 Mani Padme Hum Om 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 Mani Padme Hum.
So now this reminders, I don't know English page. Om Agara
Ukam Sarva Dharma Namadya Nutpama Beso Ukam Sarva Dharma
Adenuvena Doda Om Beso Om Agara Ukam Sarva Dharma Adenuvena Doda Om Beso
Page 63.
Mukam Sarva Dharma Nam Jajadhanandra
Om Ahum
Soha
Om Sabakaye Kahi Ujjada Bhakya Soha Om Anjur Mani Jela Dhan Baso Nisen Jimego Sena Helo Wanjur Bad Yekun Gombo Sobar Om Bendar Sato Samayama So next is aspiration prayer is English.
Page 64.
Life after life, may we take birth in the Supreme Family and hold the Samaya, be without madness and adhere to Hivajra. May we have devotion for the Lama and be compassionate. Life after life, may our hands hold the Vajra and ring the bell.
May we become reciters of the profound Dharma and receive the Queen's nectar.
Okay, so we are complete. So do you have some questions? Yes.
When does fear become an afflictive emotion? I mean, it seems to me a measured amount of fear is useful. If a hurricane is coming, poisonous snake is coming, you want to react, get out of the way. But if you linger in anxiety, is that when, but in fear, but it turns into a kind of semi-permanent anxiety, that must be considered an afflictive emotion. Is that how you see it, or how do you see that?
Yes, sure. So I was in Tibet. So I think the long story, but one time the Chinese army captured me, and then they bring to in the truck, and then before in the truck. So I know they killed Tibetans. So first, like they hit his gun, army gun hit here at my. So first, of course, maybe scary, probably maybe not, but I have feeling, yes. But second is I did is like, okay, just fine, So whatever might bring my karma, so I really sort of enjoy. I remember Achi and I remember Buddha. That's it. So I no longer scary, no longer expecting. So that's okay. So that's why I think maybe depending, yes, of course, there's snake or hurricane. We have to, whatever protect, have to run away. Yes, of course. But same time, it's the maybe no worry, no scary, maybe easy to scare, to snake or from hurricane. So the mind training is we not avoid, we change the object. We cannot, like for example, maybe snake, hurricane, whatever, these tornadoes, they come. But I think we can change is the inside reaction. So then also whatever easy to dealing them. So actually my situations really helps. I just calm down, So they're sort of like hesitation. They didn't shoot me, didn't kill me. Otherwise, maybe I look a bit scary, worry, or may try to scare. They 100% kill me. So sometimes also the mind strength, they can help. So not only my situation, so many people, like prisoners, this kind of situation able to escape. The reason is they're not scary. Reason is no worry, So then they're able to manage how to scale, how to dealing them, but not 100%, but.
Yeah, we got microphone.
Took me a minute. Gotcha, sorry. So, Drupon, thank you. And following up on that question, or on your answer maybe, let's say, I'm not saying this is what happened, but let's say in a situation where you were captured, right, by the Chinese. Let's say that maybe some of your friends or neighbors or people that you knew had turned you in. Okay, so just pretending that maybe someone that you trusted had turned you in and collaborated with the Chinese army. How would you manage your feelings toward that person? A sense of anger or betrayal or pity for their poor mind state, or how would you manage that internal sense of maybe betrayal?
I think karma seya. Le tike tene, jik matobi keta, jik Chinese kangla nga so jik fight, defense, that no way rawa yomaris. Yina da na ki sem ki denga digre zamba yorawa. Digre se nga seg mari ki digre yomarwa. Yina nga sinan digre zambe loji jego resta. Tene towan loji leon gores. Kon digres.
Ani
Moa kare te wat.
mona pena tropo yona de kamba ki nyebo ki tropo drabo tropo samna yene konzo gyana kishun la o Drupon dende dupo chebares konla son kanla trigo gudus de magni la labna ani naso tela tene kangar yuna tene tropo la kare samgo gudu.
Ta samtang jikwa rawa. Samtang jikwa re yina ri nga so feeling yoris. Yina ta karsana nga so Dharma practitioners they not try to blame others. Ta jik thangbo ngarang karsana jik tik kanye kang nang mando wa kongro marang wa hedang marang ya te keche mo wa na sorba da yongze gres chona la ba teni chingya khang yoris mambo yoris no himba to ko che do lab go wa mo lab na yitini khang pe they are lot actually
konzo
o teni lamya yorwa the spine da wa da tandam da yorwa
ane dene jema
인다티 히다 코카스나 가서 디 콘소디 니츠 충충로 와 small 이나 콘소 백그라운드 차니 트니 지금도 콘솔 같으니 누구를 라토야 야 말아 콘소 코랑소 컨트롤 야 말아
so
이나 제 지나 코랑 프로텍션 체야 키도 라브 유지래 이나데 not big deal
so trouble the
콘소 히다 사야 야 말이스 no reason 와
so the most important thing is we have to think about karma. And for example, in Drupon, what Drupon was saying earlier about his situation, if he tried to, fight the Chinese, there's no way. He couldn't. Also, maybe even a broader way. The Tibetans can't just like rise up, and there's no way. And so the most important thing, though, is that we do have control over our inner minds in that situation. When we are faced with an enemy, we can control inwardly what we're thinking about. and how we respond to the situation. And so, in the sense, if somebody rats us out or, tells on us and betrays us, the most important thing to do is to initially not get super upset that we act on that. Of course we're gonna feel something, if we're betrayed by somebody we trust or something. But then in a broader way, we can understand that it's the karma of the situation. Maybe that person thinks they're gonna get some benefit and they're afraid for themselves. And so they think they're gonna get some protection. But really, are they really gonna get protected? Maybe they're just having this small mind state. And, if we dwell on it, then we're creating a problem for ourselves in our own mind. In the grand scheme of things, it's part of the greater karmic situation. If the, Chinese weren't there, doing all this stuff on a broader level, then this small situation with, ratting out or betrayal wouldn't even be a thing. So, to not get angry is the most important thing. And then of course we might have some feelings, but to not really dwell on it is better.
Thank you.
We have a question online, Drupon. Could you briefly explain, this is from Aurora Alonso, could you briefly explain what the 5 meats and 5 nectars are that are offered in the Ghana chakra practice?
You really you know those things? Okay, maybe Eric tell this 5 meats and 5 nectars.
Traditionally, the 5 meats are, animals that die. They come from the Indian tradition, and it's animals that die that would just be sitting there, kind of like, pre-industrial, like roadkill of like cow, dog, what else? Horse,
Human.
elephant, and human corpses. So they would just be like sitting around, and you would never think to eat them. Like in India, cows are sacred, so you would never think to eat a cow. And like dog meat, you would never think to eat like just a dirty old dog corpse. And then the 5 nectars include, like human excrement, urine, the, sexual fluids from men, blood from female, and brains. And, if you just saw those, you would never think to consume them. You would just be like, it's like pee and poop and stuff, like get it out of here. And the purpose is to transcend duality. It's not, some people think it's like, but it's about going beyond the dualistic attachment to those things or aversion.
Okay.
And on that note, regarding poking somebody with a pin, you're really poking yourself with the pin, yes?
Yes. Sometimes that maybe poking ourselves is bigger than needle. Painful, so the afflicted emotions, pecking, maybe it is like sore, instead of that pain. Needle, sorry.
So, entering the corpse, is that basically the idea that the karma mudra is to be perceived as, something you're free of dualistic thinking about, something like that? Is that
Re tang la imba, zo karzina.
I don't know. It's
Kong de roni shuparcha. Kong dikitse kikola. De dorje lu. Kong marpe ki dorje lu ki choya. Did test tonda.
Yeah, the in that era when you tangi laviatri in a 5 meet 5 lectures here the ngacho this hansa aketa karse ordinary sense la show chimbo wa be massivic the in the ngacho nyamlen chisi ke ni the cardius what is cause reaction wa afflict emotions that then do go yorwa much of 5 lectures 5 meets sagori get your maris thank you yorwa yina the sanga choti di manji the beyond our ordinary concept chadi yor so
So, in the secret mantra tradition, there are these examples that are used. For example, the 5, normally unclean meats and unclean nectars that are used as these objects that create a strong reaction. We have this strong reaction. So if we can transcend that emotion, it's a way to practice and go beyond, our concepts. This, I think you're talking about from the Vajra song, there's this line about the corpse entering the corpse, which might have, some kind of other subtle meanings. But this language, is talking about going beyond, concepts of, our ordinary experience of birth and death and all these different types of things. And, the normal way that we respond to things. And so the secret mantra, language and, experience is, these powerful ways of attaining, non-duality by going beyond our ordinary experience.
ina tiga na gi kita thanda di tenterwa kare de sewa yap tomba yom ti ke seton sungjo ke tokpa je jesona tene ta thanda nga zo ki ordinary ke chi de le chi zama changse ya de te jang den ro go sarwa.
So, another thing, like if we look at the nature of the male deity aspect, then it is luminosity. And we look at the nature of the female deity aspect, it is emptiness. And so when we think about, the non-dual union that these deities are present as, this union of the luminous nature of all reality and the ultimate inherent emptiness. In that, when we are rest in that, then concepts of pure, impure, clean, unclean, we transcend all that.
Mm-hmm. So, do you have some questions, comments? Katie?
So, just follow up. Entering the corpse and the
Comment des chonju drabo.
Sorry, John, you jumped the line again.
Sorry, yeah. So, entering the corpse is, in essence, poetry for enter the display of phenomena as being empty and luminous.
Right. So I think these crops means the empty essence. They no longer, there are no crops.
Yeah,
Wow.
okay.
So terwa telagora ma to pa chimbo lagro. Toya meba dona da to yores. Choran juya meba jogna tan jogbares.
Jerwa mepa laju.
Non jogro crops jugoro.
Uh-huh.
Roll hugoro.
Uh-huh.
Wata the huya meba tela ta kona da hogbares. Crops hogbares.
Uh-huh. So they say like the going beyond, not experiencing non-realization is like great realization. When we transcend concepts of like, something to realize or not realize, that's great realization. And so going beyond concepts of life, living bodies or corpses, is entering, the ultimate, nature of the corpse, which is going beyond, any kind of conceptual effort, transcending all concepts.
So this, I think, very important part is the telobak, meno lagro, meno mesems, some
So part of Tilopa's 6 Dharma teachings is, don't, fabricate, don't conceptualize, don't, enter into any kind of thoughts, don't think, don't feel, don't evaluate.
Tati nengayo. So take a look what it means.
So what do those points mean?
Exactly what they say. Basically abide in the nature of mind, the essence, and be free of judgment or projecting into the future, reviewing the past, or having an identity, being attached to self.
I don't think so, no.
Okay. Oh, here.
So yeah, what is that? You are thinking. What means problem?
Being like fresh,
Huh?
being aware and fresh and not conceptualizing past that.
I don't know.
No longer be affected by anything outside the self. No judgment, no thoughts, just self. Nothing out there to bother you.
Okay.
Hi, thank you, Drupon. Looking at the bigger picture, I try to find the good in things. My mother just passed away a few weeks ago, so I try to find the good. And what we're talking about with the corpses and the fluids, or the meat and the fluids, they're still good because it's a benefit. It might not be attractive to the human, but to a fly or a buzzard or a maggot, it's all good stuff. And it's fertilizer, it's part of the cycle of life. So it's to look at it like it's just part of life and not, okay, I don't have to consume that, but yes, I might have to kill something, hook a fish to survive because an apple's not enough for me. That's why we have choices as humans. That's what I'm seeing or what I'm hearing and how I feel.
Yes, on one hand, ordinary sense, yes. So that's just nature, So, tanga so di chu nyamlen cheya kesam tanga ta karsena as much as possible tela jinga so chewa mewa terwa. 세와라와 노체메와.
Nusime. So, on one hand, yes, there are these like cycles of life, and also in addition, in Buddhist practice, one of the key things too, in addition to being aware of that kind of stuff, we want to try to not harm beings as much as possible, other beings.
Also, I think the main is that we call realization, right? Or realization, or we can able to achieve the authentic happiness. So in order to get that, you have to have the love and compassion sense inside, you know. If you have that, then so kind of diminish or afflict emotions. So previous, what is the minnow, misams?
Like, don't fabricate, don't think.
Right.
Let it arise naturally.
Right. So that's, I think, okay, you have to keep, okay, very important. So minnow seyaji do, misam seyaji ro, samno mata jikparo, minnow misam sama jikparo. Minnow seyade chora, samno mata labyo mares.
So like, in a way, you know, these words, don't fabricate, don't think, these are ultimately referring to the same thing. So Drupon then says this first part, don't contrive,
Think, right?
don't think, for example. It doesn't mean that you can't think thoughts at all.
Content or free from your thoughts. The thoughts go.
No, so this, the don't think means choran ragmar is thinking cheyaji automatically. This.
So, naso rangjung nangshin.
Yeah, the time you automatically that okay. Ordinarily say okay, don't think. Okay, you can shamada, right? But ultimately, think chia yo mare la godate. Don't thinking chigil maji la go marwa. Choran samota yo mare la godata. Rag mare la samota aji. Choran tana ka so la go marwa. Tera wadati.
So,
yeah.
So, you know, in one way,
That's important, okay?
you know, it says don't think. So on one hand, we could try to like, oh, this means we need to stop our thinking. You know, we need calm abiding practice right now. We need to sit there and force ourselves not to have any thoughts. But we automatically, we think. We're not going to just be able to like cut off all our thoughts.
But if you want, ultimately, you cannot find thinking. Okay? So you want thinking, okay? But you cannot find. That means the thinking is, we said, okay, you start thinking, not like that. Ultimately, you cannot find the thinking. Even though you want something thinking, you know, okay? But ultimately, you don't find nature. So that's with same thing, you know. Okay.
This is a very ignorant question.
I think it looks good.
It's an ignorant question. Is it working?
No.
The Gana Chakra feast, is there a tie-in with the feeling of the sharing food, of course, a communion, if you will, which is a sacrament in the Christianity and a lot of similar practices throughout different religions. So at the Gana Chakra feast, is there a way in which it could, at least today for us, that there's some sense, some impulse, some way in which we could imagine it helps the departed? A way that we could help your sister, for example, or others who are not with us? Are they included? Is it a way that we can feel when we eat together?
Yes, definitely. That tila karsina ngazo sotela re party this gathering rawa. Tilan duba som yores. Tene ta ji lama yedam kando chuchong Tigana yi logo deti, Tigana yi somebody Tonsomando, Telando to Yoris, no object.
Ane.
Gathering.
Drone.
One row gathering.
Then
do object the Carsina, Terwa. Sama Tunya, Saya, Ramanda, Kalat, and the others. And then it gathering jactri, Carsina, Tangas of Ninja Pomo, Matasaman do Yorwa. Tizum due tone, not so candy chivi natine, Bena Dipajaya in a Tijan to Buyoris. Not so Tansek Mantuvi in a Tizo to Buyoris. Tenetigana Yitanga to Shalia, Modop Tovia, Chito Latin, not so Niambando Tanwa, the Tansa di Culian, Tina, Tene, Clark Modop to Buyoris.
Thank you.
In a moral question,
the
Tindoro,
me deakimi
or deep ping,
simple
very pingro.
the tumble nona lama yenu kandro chukyon don
That
simple
Rina entity, so maybe
me my
so maybe but some of the two goddess.
So the word for Gana Chakra, especially if we look at the Tibetan, sometimes it's called a gathering, wheel gathering. Everybody gathers around. And the word in Tibetan is sok, which means to gather, to come together. So there is an explanation of three things that come together. First, it is the lamas, the Yiram deities, the dakinis, the Dharma protectors, and sometimes the local kind of guardians of the land, like kind of, spirits and stuff. And this can also include, those beings that are departed, that are connected with us. Two, then the second thing that is gathered are, food, drink, the different, samaya substances and so forth. These are gathered together. And then third, the male and female and so forth, the yogis, yoginis, and different, types of practitioners. This is the gathering. So when these three come together, then through offering the Gana Chakra feast, then this purifies our negative actions, and it also renews and restores our samayas, our sacred commitments and pledges. And then likewise, through partaking in the Gana Chakra feast and performing it correctly, then we can attain the miraculous accomplishments, the accomplishments of the nature of the enlightened deities, the Buddhas.
Okay, so now maybe too long, but I think one thing is, I think related to Katie, that's a good question. And then also, ngazo mochonsona, tachon hakurwa, inati, pardo seyatala 49 days, degrees. Ti tsela kesi pardo di yuna, tene jig mochonsongen koranla, bena hyuki kala kargag yuna, chi mambo gong marwa, jig gonda kala kargag yuna, tende la chi tila. Korang kala sa se nang dis lo. Tene nga so omani beme hung stomina. Tene Koran la top no yores.
And so, another thing, if we're talking about those that have recently departed and how to help them, then it is said that for those who have, passed on, then they can exist in a bardo state, a state in between, death and future rebirth for up to 49 days. So every morning, and it doesn't have to be a big thing, but every morning and every evening we can take a little bit of like food and drink that person might have liked, and place it in like a special vessel or something, just kind of like have it there, and then recite Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, and then imagine that food or drink is offered to the being in the bardo to kind of nourish them and help them on their journey.
Okay. Thank you.
Drupon, now we have several questions online. I want to apologize to online folks for not getting a lot of their questions. But if I may, just one quick one from Shanti. Does eating meat generate karma?
Yes. Reda karsena yang tesung yorwa. Ketang atoda kala karsena this karma yores.
So in general, whatever we eat, there's karma, cause and effect related to, getting that food.
Tene ta yang samle ngazo de songbere ngazo chunyamne cheya la yang ko supo de songo grwa. Subu sunya ki chi to la yang konga ki khasa go ya tene yungo yores.
So, as Dharma practitioners, we also, though, we need to take care of our body so that it's healthy and usable. And so, for some people, they might feel that they need to eat meat to be healthy.
Okay. So do you have another question? Okay.
So I understand how a very realized person can, yogi or realized person, can reach a state of not thinking, not reacting, not judging. And by doing that, essentially stop generating karma. I understand that, but what if you reach the state of not caring? And I mean, then how can you continue being compassionate for others?
That's a good question. In the not thinking maris. Koran ke ta Thinley ke labor jile abina. Jeta no need thinking either. When sentient pantoria la, tene nupa when nimanda wo. When dawa no jik nupa usung doa. In a young to not thinking say atela yagi lako same thing to beyond chadi or matong to kaya some no kaya matong crop wrote in it animalis.
So going beyond, kind of relative conceptual thinking, in terms of realization, it doesn't mean, not benefiting beings at all. When one has a realization that transcends all concepts, like Buddhahood, then sentient beings are naturally benefited. Their minds and activities become like the light of the sun and moon. They shine everywhere without any bias or prejudice. And so this subtle teaching about going beyond relative concepts isn't about stopping to think about, doing anything, relatively. It's more about like how we can progress with our realization.
Yeah, so the ordinary, they don't have the dualistic concept. But yeah, it's more automatically kind of interesting thing is the so we are not flexible, so everything is we challenge. Even though we try to help the other people, but very difficult, right? But up the rich kind of like, or Buddhahood, whatever, that rich level is flexible. This kind of like benefit effortlessly. That automatically they can benefit. So because we are stuck in the dualistic concept, we try to jump, but we cannot jump. We're stuck here. We try to fly, but we cannot fly for some reason. Otherwise, we can go and benefit all sentient beings, fly, and this and that, but we don't. So this kind of dualistic concept. But if release dualistic concept, they're flexible. Whatever this kind of like, naturally, automatically, so and they go to in the water, it is like maybe fish, so you can fly the sky and look like bird. There's nothing like stuck, kind of penetrated everywhere, So that is how benefits sentient beings. Okay, thank you. I think now we have passed the time, so short dedication.
Okay, turn to page 24 in the prayer book. By the virtues collected in the three times by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Drupon Ratna Shri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara. And then to page 19. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. Changju Semcho Rinpoche Ma Ke Panam Ke Yorjig Ke Panyam Pa Me Bayam Gong Ne Changju Semcho Rinpoche Ma Ke Panam Ke Gyurjig Ke Panyam Pa Me Paryam Gong Ne
Thank you. Tashi Dalek.
Gracias, Miss Soldi. Thank you, Drupon.